Hello and welcome back to the Apprentice 1-to-1 podcast. This is now episode 6 of our week-long effort to celebrate National Apprenticeship Week and the Skills for Life theme. Today I wanted to look at, again, we went into the sort of further training on the last episode and we touched on business. And I'm speaking from personal experience on this because I was an employee at the start and I'm now a business owner, and I see lots of people out in industry. It could be people who I speak to on Twitter or on Instagram. They're all running their own small businesses, either working for themselves or have small teams. Some of them employ a lot of people. There is Dan over on LinkedIn from GW PowerSafe. He's got loads of people working for him. And yeah, there's different levels as you work through your career and the knowledge you might need to get into business. And I'm not going to sit here and try and give you that expert advice of someone who's just run a small electrical contracting business. There are other people in my family way more qualified who could give you that advice, who are far more successful at business than I am, but they're not here to sit talking to you. So I will just give you the little bits of knowledge I know and share some of the experiences of other people I've observed through industry, if you like. The kind of journey you go on, I would say, is you kind of go through your apprenticeship, you get established into industry, and you may get ideas that you know you could be the owner of the business and build up your own empire, if you like. I don't think there's anything wrong with having that approach. Lots of people seem to get it, and I know some employers get a bit upset about it, where their apprentices go up and set up in competition. But you need to remember the path they walked in the past as well, and it's not always like that. People I've trained still work for us. They have no interest in going off setting up on their own. They just like coming to work and doing their job. So it is unique to each individual. But I would say if you are considering it, there's some things you need to try and take in from those who have got that experience. And there's lots of these business coaching courses and stuff that crop up, and they generally cost you money, and the value in them is questionable. So I would say is ask questions of your current employer. If they're doing a tender, for example, you see them in their office and they're working on a design and tender. Ask them what's involved in that. How do you actually, all this work we're going off doing day to day, how does that come to be? It's not that it just falls out the sky and we go off and start installing stuff. There's a process to get to that stage. What is it? How do you do that? And there's so many things you need to know from business ownership, from setting up a company. So if you're going to be a limited company, if you're going to be a sole trader, and the legal differences between that. Generally, having a limited company limits your liability at a personal level, so you want to make sure, in my opinion, that you would always have that buffer there rather than being a sole trader. But I know of others who've always done it that way. Eddie Clemens from Pegasus, he won't mind saying he's a big proponent of that. So it's different for everybody. And again, there's the tax issues that are different based on that. If you are self-assessing, or if you are doing PAYE for your staff and you're doing your corporation taxes, you may be VAT registered, all of the legalities of that with your accounting and how that all works. There's the sales pipeline and marketing. So big effort that we make with our marketing is through social media, and I've been open about that myself. For a number of years, I've used LinkedIn and YouTube to great success in generating our business sales. So there's ways and means of approaching that. It could be that you're going on the radio and TV, as Jamie Curry from Home Rewire does very successfully. Craig, again, from Quinergy, with his Instagram and YouTube adverts that I see him sharing as well. There's lots of powerful business people out there who are demonstrating day-to-day how you do it. Mr. Bridgman, again, from UK's Rail, is an absolute powerhouse of business. The success he achieves is very, very inspiring. There's Sam from Oval Renewables. He's just been talking with the guys on the podcast about his business. There was the business series of videos from the Electrician's podcast with Sam and Jamie as well. So there's lots of stuff in and around all of that. There's no real rule book to follow. It's just kind of a path you go on. And it's all I would say is take the right advice from the right people. There's lots of people out there who will overstate their own abilities, telling you that they've had so many successful businesses and they've done this or they've done that, but the chances are those businesses might not have been turning over the most money, they might not have employed the most number of employees, and they're on weak foundations to give that advice. And I don't want to sit here and really do that in this episode, but it was just to set out that path, if you like, where you can, and most people seem to go into the world of owning their own small business and running their own life. The flexibility and freedom that gives you is really good. That would be the biggest takeaway I've had from doing this. So simple things like being able to drop the kids off at school, pick them up from school, taking weeks off when I need to, when we've had members of family who are unwell. It does give you that freedom to do those things, but it does also bring a level of responsibility and stress. So speak to people who walk the walk. Most of them will be happy to help you in your local area. Get the right advice from accountants and solicitors at legal level for your tax responsibilities. I think too often as electricians we think we can do everything and get very upset when other people try and do electrician in. So we need to be less hypocritical, I think, at that level. It is there, I would say. And while you're going through your training as an apprentice, if you've got that desire and you already think that could be a thing for you in the future, and you're working with an employer day to day, if they're offering you that opportunity to pick up those tips and tricks around how they manage their customers, how they advertise, how they build quotations up, how they do tenders, how they look after the paperwork side of things in terms of compliance of the jobs you're doing, how they sort out basics like the risk assessments, method statements, insurance policies, all those hidden costs of things. And again, there's episodes on my YouTube channel where I've gone into some of those hidden costs. I tried to break down my own limited experiences of business. Just to set that out there as something that you may attain to with the skills for life you've been given through your apprenticeship in the future. You may want to become that business owner, and it is something that can be fantastically rewarding, but also very difficult. And you should go into it with your eyes open and as much knowledge as you can get while you can get it. Don't look a gift horse in the mouth if you've got a willing employer who will give you that. And it could be that you go into a managerial role as well. You know, we're talking about this from a business ownership, but there are roles of responsibility as you move through your career. You may become head of a department, you may be looking after the safety of others, you may be project managing, you could be doing design and tendering and stuff. As part of a big electrical company, it's not all on one owner of a business to do all those things. You may end up in those positions where you don't own the business, but you are responsible, if you like. So again, understanding how those things work, managing people is one of the hardest things I'd say you can do, with so many different character traits and different wants that people have. I think that's a big thing that I've learned is, dealing with the different characters that are out there. Take as much as you can with every day you get given. While you are in training, it is the best time to ask questions and learn stuff. It's when you've got the most opportunity, I would say, to learn stuff. And whilst you don't have to know everything, you're never going to know everything you need to know. You will have a good base understanding, I would say, of where to look and what to do and the resources and information to take in. And again, there's loads and loads of free advice that is out there already. You can hit up YouTube, loads of resources out there. I would be very aware of anything that you're paying for without doing due diligence on it and the person who is producing that. Check the background of the businesses they've owned and operated. Really check into their work history and don't believe what they're telling you about it, because usually there's an angle there to sell something, so they may be not being untruthful but perhaps exaggerating their own ability. And if you get even a slight whiff of a red flag, keep your money in your pocket and take some advice from those in the know. That'd be my top tip, to leave that one on. I hope this episode has been of some interest, and again, this is to celebrate National Apprenticeship Week, which is on the theme of skills for life. It's episode 6. There is one more to go. We're going to get to close that off. So 7 episodes. There will be one every day. There wasn't intentionally going to be that at the start of this little series, but it's how it's gone. And I hope they've been of some use and benefit to those of you who are looking to enter the electrical industry and some of the things that you can do to be successful in it. That's what this is all about. Thank you for listening. If you've got any questions, drop them in below, and I'll see you on the next one. So you've been listening to the Apprentice 1-to-1 podcast, and a huge shout out to our supporters and sponsors, and they are Team IMD, which is Proteus, Tamlex, Centaur, M2, and others in that group, LK Energy Switches and Controls, Modexsoft Electrical OM, Klein Tools and Superrod, Test Instrument Solutions, aka TIS, and the Installer Trades Installer Show group. We massively appreciate that support and thank you very much. We hope you enjoyed this week's show.